talking about Little House on the Prairie. I want to know. We all want to know. Was it a real prairie? Where was this shot?
It was shot, exteriors were done in Simi Valley at a ranch where we built the house in the town, and then we would also go away to Arizona occasionally. We would also go to Sonora, California.
So you could really roll in the grass and play and have
yes, yes. Well, and a shot of us coming, the kids running down the hill in the beginning of the show.
Yes.
Like I tripped and fell. At that point, it was not very green, and we had sprinklers being put in at that time to make green up the scenery, and they had stuck wire flowers in the hill, and I tripped on a wire flower and got whiplash running down the hill.
Oh.
Yeah, so we did though have a good time out there. It was fun.
How was it working with Michael Landon?
It was very nice. You know, he was a great boss, and he was great with kids. And
yes, was he like a father figure?
He was. Well, he was more, for me, he was more of a very big brother figure. But also he gave me a lot of advice because he knew I was very serious about acting and the business, and so he gave me some good advice. And
why do you think the series was such a landmark series? What made it like a cult phenomenon? It became a cult phenomenon.
I guess it filled a gap, a need at that time, maybe for the family. There was also the Waltons, but maybe because they were so big, that family was so large, and maybe because it was during a more depressing era, the Depression, I believe. You know, ours was the pioneer and forging ahead on the frontier, and that I think was something, you know, everybody can relate to. And it's not like something in the future where you're going to catch up. This is always in the past. It's always fun to kind of look back and watch.
Do you?
So, occasionally, you know,
really?
Just occasionally. My kids are not, especially my son, is not interested.
Too weird to see mom.
He's a big movie kid, so he's much more into watching a movie. But my daughter, I think the last time I watched an episode was with my daughter a couple years ago.
Wow.
But yeah.
Going back to you now, are you surprised that there was so much attention going around and focusing on the fact that you're getting your Canadian citizenship?
A little bit. It's very nice, and you know, we've enjoyed our stay. We've been here 5 years, and it's been great. It's beautiful, and the people are terrific, and my kids both speak French very, very well. They're extremely proficient, and
have you learned a couple of words from them?
Well, I'm not terrible, but I'm too shy to sort of. I'm not as bad as
Bonjour, comment ça va?
No, I just don't feel that comfortable. But I can read it pretty well, and you know, and try to help a bit with the homework, and but it's really been a great experience, and we thought it would be nice to have, you know. We don't lose our American citizenship, obviously, but it's very nice to become Canadians. And we studied. Boy, did we study. The whole family is Canadian, exactly, now. And my husband and I had to take the test, and we studied and studied and studied.
I've heard it's tough. Well, I mean, most Quebecers wouldn't even know a couple of answers, right?
That's what everyone said when I would read them or show them my study pages, and they were like, I don't know that. I don't know that. And I really, 115 questions we studied and knew all the answers, all the territories and provinces and their capitals and this and that and all kinds of things.
We can play trivia.
Oh, really, really. And then I found out that my husband didn't have to take the test because he was over the age limit. He's older than I am.
Oh, okay.
And but he was in Los Angeles at the time, and the nice man at citizenship said, well, we don't have to tell him. And so it was his idea, and I didn't tell him. I almost told him like 3 times, but I thought I'd lose my pal in taking the test. How can I have this all on my shoulders that I have?
Did you take the test one beside the other?
We did. He had a different test than I did, and so we didn't tell him until we actually went to take the test, and they said, well, sir, you're exempt. You don't have to take it. He was like, what?
Talking about family, do you think that most television shows today don't have enough family values put forward? Do you think we need this?
I think so. I think that's always something that people, you know, gravitate towards and would like to see. There's a show I really like, I think, and for now, it's very contemporary, but Friday Night Lights, I think, is a great. I think it's a great show. But the nice thing about it is it shows people at their worst as well as their best.
The real side of everyone.
Exactly.
But don't you think that when you look at young Hollywood, disturbing problems with drugs and alcohol, why do you think that is? Did you have the same pressure 25 years ago?
No.
Why?
I don't know. You know, when our show just kind of missed, it was right before kids started being paid the big bucks. I mean, kids were not paid right after us. It started with Different Strokes, I think, and Gary Coleman, and that kind of thing kind of took off. And then kids became so powerful that they were given everything. They were given too much. And that happens anyway. But I think you know, you really have to have a handle on your home life and your.
That's the advice you would give them?
I think so. I don't recommend it personally. I think it's a mistake. I think there's a reason why kids shouldn't work. I don't think it's a good idea. But I think you do miss out, even under the best of circumstances, your most stable home life. I think you miss out on a lot of things, a lot of growing aspects, growing up.
Yes.
That you eventually have to sort of go back and
it
kind
catches
of
up to you.
It does. I mean, you've missed a lot of things, and emotionally, and I just don't think it's natural. I think kids should be kids.
And so you wouldn't move back to Hollywood with your kids?
Well, I wouldn't want them to do it,
okay.
and I wouldn't really want to move. I would like to sort of, now my kids are getting older and I'm becoming sort of obsolete, so I would.
Not forever.
But I would like to maybe, step back in and work a little bit more.
So being semi-retired is just the in-between period.
Right,
Oh.
right. I really stepped away for a long time. I was completely retired for, 5, 6, 7 years, and then I've done little tiny things since. But that was really for the kids so that they'd have their own sense of who they were as opposed to being with me. And I remember Mike Landon as a kid with being around his kids and him being stopped having to sign autographs all the time at his daughter's birthday party and things like that. And I think that takes so much of the attention that should be on the child away from them and is on the parent, and that's so wrong. The children should be the stars of their little lives, So I feel like I did the right thing. I feel like they've grown up to be their own people and they're secure in themselves. To the point where even they would like to see me work a little, and
So the good news
they probably
today,
just want to get rid of me.
the good news today is that your fans will see more of you.
Well, I hope so.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great. We'll be watching.
Oh, thank you, and I'll be watching you.
Thank you. So you were part of one of the most famous episodes of the Brady Bunch. You had a kissing scene.
Yeah.
How was that?
Oh, I was mortified.
Really?
I was at the age where, I didn't want to kiss a boy at all, no matter who he was.
How old were you then?
9, 10.
That's young. Yeah.
Yeah, and but on the other hand, I was thrilled to do the Brady Bunch because I was a huge fan. I watched every Friday night religiously, and I was so excited to go and do it. But it was so scary to do that scene.
Are you saying that was your first kiss?
Yes.
Woohoo!
Yes, it was.
And
Yes.
how was it finally?
Oh, it was fine, and the director was great, and Mike Lookenland, who played Bobby,
Yes.
who I had to kiss, was adorable, and everybody was so nice, and it turned out great. But I was just at that awful age where no.
But it gave you a nice preview.
It did, and also I was actually hired as an actress. I was supposed to, so I had to
Exactly.
act, so I had to just, pull it together and do it.
Now, living here in Montreal, walking the streets, going to restaurants, how is it to be an actress, a well-known actress here in Montreal?
People here, sometimes I get very excited people that come up and, someone with their daughter or, that they've grown up watching or whatever. And other times I think people are just very respectful and they don't really say anything, or they don't know, one or the other. I'm not sure. It's fine either way, It's also been a long time for me. So when I was a kid, I had it all the time, and recognition, and then when I was even in my 20s, I worked a lot, so people knew me all the time. So it's nice if they don't, and it's also nice because it's been a while if they do.
So you're humbled by the experience, but you also see it as a privilege.
Right. Right.
That's great.
Yeah.
So how does it feel after, I mean, having children, building a family, getting work again?
It's you know, it's interesting going back, you know, auditioning. There are, I think people think of me still here as an American.
Oh.
So I tend to get the American role. I go up for the American role in things that are Canadian a lot of times.
You're still blonde with very light blue eyes.
But you know, it's nice to. I enjoy actually meeting people. I enjoy, you know, meeting people in the business and just sort of talking and letting people know that I'm here and that I'd like to, you know, I'd like to work. I'm not, you know, I have another life. I have my family. You know, but you know, to gently sort of get back into it. And so it's been kind of a perfect place to slowly do that.
And now that you're back, do you notice that you missed it, or it was all part of a natural process?
It felt really good. I think the way it worked out was perfect for me.
Ever get
actually.
nervous?
Yeah, sometimes. Sometimes, sure.
Not in
sure.
the kissing scenes. That's behind you.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.